When you save seeds from your garden, you save so much more than just the seeds themselves. There are loads of benefits, and it's also just really good fun. So today I'm going to be talking about what I think you need to know to get you started on your own seed saving journey so that you can keep successive generations of lovely flowers and vegetables going in your garden year after year. Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome back to my vegetable garden in October, where you can see that some things, well, they're still flowering their hearts out, and other things, a bit like my sweet pea, despite the fact that they're flowering, they're also now really starting to look quite tired and they're beginning to run to seed. And I'm sure you're going to see exactly the same thing in your own gardens or allotments. So this time of year is a great time to be getting your head into that frame of mind where you need to be thinking about seed saving. So what I thought I would create today is just a short video to really inspire you to get started on your own seed saving journey if you haven't done it before, to give you a little bit of key information that hopefully is going to be useful for you. But there are a couple of useful things that you need to know before you start just collecting all of the seed that you can. So let's go through those. Now, there is absolutely nothing stopping you going around your entire garden collecting every seed that you can. However, what is important to know is that once they grow, they may not necessarily come true. And when we talk about a plant coming true, that's where the new plant that you've grown from the seed maintains the same characteristics of the parent plant. Now, when it comes to flowers, that's important because you're going to want to know that the plant has the right growth habit, that the flowers are a nice colour, for instance, or a nice size, or that there are enough flowers, or even that it has the correct scent. When it comes to edibles, it's equally important because you want to make sure that the plant has the correct growth habit, that it produces edible fruits and fruits of a quality or a taste level that means you're going to want to eat them. But this coming true all comes down to one really important concept, and it lives in the parent plants themselves, and that's how they're pollinated. There are three really big kind of groups of plants to think about when it comes to pollination. The absolute easiest are self-pollinated plants. Those are things like beans and tomatoes. They don't have to rely on any other plant to pollinate them, and because of that, you know that if you collect those seeds, they're going to come true year after year. So for that reason, that would be my recommendation for the very first things to start saving seeds of if you're kind of new to it. The next thing, or the next group of plants, are open pollinated plants. Now, those are plants that will get cross-pollinated by insects, flies, spiders, the wind, you name it. But crucially, although they do cross-pollinate, they don't cross-pollinate between individual varieties of the same species. So that means you can collect them as well, but you can collect them safe in the knowledge that realistically they're going to come true for you. And if anything, if you select healthy plants in your own garden and only save the seeds of those, the next year you've got a really good chance of them not only coming true, but doing really well in your garden because the parent plant was clearly well adapted to the ground that it was growing in. So you can see the advantage that if you go with an open pollinated plant, successionally over years, really what you should end up building up is a stock of really good plants that grow from seeds that are going to be really well adapted to your climate. Then finally, the group of seeds that you're not going to want to collect are those of F1 hybrids. Those are seeds where the plants have been specifically bred by the seed growers, or the seed manufacturers, I suppose, to give you a very specific plant. Something like Sun Gold tomatoes, as tasty as those are, if you collect the seed, there's no guarantee that they're going to come true the next year. So unfortunately, if you're growing plants from seeds where you know that they're an F1 hybrid, it's not worth keeping those seeds because unfortunately, they're just not going to come true for you. So those are the three things to bear in mind: F1, self-pollinated, and open-pollinated. Now, that's the sciencey bit over. Here are my recommendations for a couple of great starter plants to get you started on your own seed saving journey. The seed saving process is really very simple and really very quick. So I'm going to summarize it now, and then we'll look at 3 examples and how to apply that method. So all you need to do is you need to select a nice healthy plant, let it go to seed, let those seeds dry, collect the seeds, and then you need to store them. And when it comes to storing them, the best thing you can do is to store them in envelopes and then somewhere nice and cool and dry and ideally dark, something like a tin. That's all there is to it. It truly is that easy. So let's expand that out a little bit and we'll look at 3 examples. The first one is this. These are beans and they are brilliant. Like I said earlier, they're generally self-pollinated. Some of them aren't, like broad beans, just be aware. But most of them are, and for that reason, they're a really good starter plant to start your seed saving journey on. So you want to select nice, healthy plants. Now that's ideally something you would have done sooner or next year, get ahead of the game. What you need to do is label them or tie a ribbon around them, because as I said earlier, there's no benefit in saving weedy plants because you're wanting to carry on good genetic material. Once you've done that, then let your plant go to seed, like this, and let the seeds fully mature. And that means going from these nice soft seed pods to something like this. You can see it's really dry and leathery. Then what you do is you remove the seeds from them, just like this, bring them indoors. These really do benefit from sitting out maybe in a box with a little bit of newspaper for about a week or 2 just to really dry out. And then once they've dried out, pop them into your envelope, label them and store them away somewhere cool, dry and dark until you're ready for them. Now, on to the next type. And it's these, peas. And the reason I recommend peas is that they're another really good starter seed to save because they generally come true from seed nice and easily and the seed isn't too small so they're not fiddly to handle. You'll see behind me that this is a real brown tangled mess, but I'm delighted with this. It's the perfect kind of thing to collect good seed from. I've been harvesting and eating loads of lovely mange tout from these peas, but once I had enough of them and I was ready to move into seed saving mode, I let them really just produce pea pods and left them to dry out. And that means now all I need to do is go through the plant, picking off all the leathery pods, collecting the peas, and just like the beans, I'm going to leave these peas indoors on some newspaper for a week or 2 to really dry out. Then they're going to get stored in envelopes and put in a tin to stay cool and dark and dry until I'm ready to sow them. Now, the reason I'm showing you this big tangled mess is to illustrate another really good point. I've had the opportunity to leave all of the plants in situ so that they get nice and dry and crispy. But if you live somewhere or if you have weather that means that that's not possible, a great thing that you can do instead is just lift the entire plant and bring it indoors. Doing that will do exactly the same thing. It'll allow the plant to dry out and go crispy, for the pods to dry out, and you can collect the seeds in just the same way. So we've gone through the important considerations around pollination, and I've given you a couple of recommendations of great edibles that you can save the seed of this year. But let's not forget flowers. So many flower seeds can be really successfully collected and stored so that you can sow them again next winter. So here are a few examples. Cosmos, really regularly grown in gardens, and it looks absolutely beautiful, and the seeds are really easy to keep. Again, once you get to a point where you're not deadheading them anymore and you're happy to let them go to seed, let them go to seed and they'll produce these little seed heads that again, you let them dry out on the plant or cut the plant and bring it in. And when it's dry, break it open and collect the seed out of this and then store that in an envelope somewhere cool and dry and dark. Other plants that are brilliant and really easy are things like these, tagetes or French marigolds. Again, all you're needing to do is lift the seed heads off and break them open. And you can see in this seed head alone, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of seeds. So you can imagine if you collect the seeds from loads of plants, you are quids in compared to if you bought these seeds. Some other brilliant plants then are things like echinops, those lovely globe-shaped thistles where you can collect the seed from those globes. Things like aquilegia, things like calendula and sweet pea. Basically, the sky is the limit, so go wild, collect some things and see how you get on. The final thing I would say is that as great as it is to collect the seed, also just bear in mind that there is plenty of wildlife that likes to eat these seeds as well. Things like insects and things like birds. So if you don't mind holding a little bit back, leave some of your plants through the autumn and winter. Don't collect all of the seed and leave them for the wildlife to enjoy. That way, we're all getting to share a little bit of the harvest. So I really hope that you've enjoyed the video and that it's given you that boost to get out and save some of your own seed if that's something that you haven't done before. Going with something simple at the start, something like peas or beans or even tomatoes, is a great gateway to getting into seed saving. And all you need is a successful year where you save some, you find that they germinate next year, and I pretty much guarantee you that from then on you are going to be hooked. So let me know in the comments down below, are you saving seeds this year? If you are, what are you saving? And if you're not, tell me why you're not. Let the community know. It's great being able to share information amongst us all. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like. It really helps YouTube to know that people like you are enjoying my videos, because then it'll spread it out to other people. If you're not already a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. Make sure to hit the bell icon. And until next time, see you later.